Congressman, thank you for joining me. I know you have asked for exceptions as it relates to the ban for children in need of medical attention, for individuals who have specifically worked with the U.S. military, but in large part, you seem to be backing the ban. Given the extensive vetting that refugees already have to go through, what's missing?
Well, I think there's two key points. In the executive order, the word ban is not there. The word Muslim is not there. Of the 7 countries, 6 of them are racked in civil war with al-Qaeda affiliates or ISIS. The 7th is Iran, the largest state sponsor of terror. So a review of 100 days is not out of the question. It's probably prudent. However, we did ask for the exceptions. We wrote a letter, combat veterans and warriors in Congress, to the president, and we asked if they could look at those interpreters and others that have worked with the military, our special operations community, people in political process that were our allies that were ousted from their positions and had no place to go. And then children. We're talking those severe, burned, missing limbs that could come to our children's hospitals for life-saving care, and they would be temporary, and then they would go back. We've had a number of cases where we've been successful in that, and they've been able to return.
Mayor Rudy Giuliani has said that President Trump specifically called him and said, how can I legally get through a Muslim ban? So whether it's in the executive order or not, we've heard these words from the president.
Well, we've heard a lot of things, and, I think, look, we're a nation that's a rule of law, and as far as Congress is concerned, we look at what is it that was actually asked for in the executive order. This is what was asked for. It's within the president's parameters. It's within the immigration laws that we pass as Congress. He has the ability to look at the security measures, and it's temporary. And so what people say rhetorically, I mean, we were called all kinds of things during our campaigns. I think it's important, what does the executive order say? And when we have the 7 countries, 6 of them racked in civil war, not even in control of their government or their populations, their documents, if he thinks we need a 90 to 120-day look, I'm willing to go there. However, we are a nation of immigrants, and we need to get the policy right, and we need to make sure we use the latest technologies. When I was going through Syrian refugee camps, I saw some amazing things that were being used. Not in all the countries that are named, though, when you look at Sudan, Libya, others. So I think it's to look at some of the technical means that we could bring up to speed in the vetting process.
As part of the legal challenge to the president's order, a group of former national security officials, including Madeleine Albright, Leon Panetta, John Kerry, they wrote a letter, and in it they said this order would endanger U.S. troops in the field. As a military official, as someone who's been in the field, how do you respond to that?
I dismiss it, not because it's not sincere. It's just that, look, many of these groups do not need a reason to hate us. And one thing that's interesting, if you go into the al-Qaeda websites and other things here in the last week or so after the order, not a word about Trump, not a word about the immigration order. They're simply not talking about it. So it sounds good. It appeals to our sensibilities. It's just not borne by the facts.
How about something President Trump is talking about, and this does have to do with facts. Yesterday, he made a claim that the media is not covering terrorist attacks. Do you believe that?
I do think it is. It's problematic when we see attacks that have happened and then it's downplayed as violent extremist or something of that nature, and we don't immediately identify it for what it is, acts of terror. I think that's legitimate. I think the average American out there thinks that that's legitimate. And so we have to give careful attention, and you've got to call things what they are rather than, try to put some ideological thing one way or the other. If it's an act of terror, let's call it out so that we can protect all Americans and our allies.
In terms of issues of most importance, yesterday President Trump, that was his first meeting, the first time he spoke to the military officials at CENTCOM. Was that the right narrative? Was that the right thing to talk about, the most pressing, whether or not the media has adequately covered certain terrorist attacks?
Well, there were a lot of things that were covered. I've sat in on many of those high-level meetings. I've been abroad. Presidents have visited and secretaries of defense. As a soldier, I've sat in those types of meetings. What actually gets picked out for sound bites is usually just a fraction of what's actually covered.
All right, Congressman, thank you for your time this morning, and thanks for serving our country.